And then they asked me a question about potential witness, and I was honest.
I'd like to call this an enormous meeting to order tonight.
Even I can count on the whistle on that one.
This is just incredible. Maybe I won't even say it.
Yeah, don't jinx it.
Okay.
Excuse me, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so, Carl, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Excuse me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
We're going to bifurcate the dedication of the meeting tonight. Want to thank all of the Fortress volunteers for the extraordinary effort that they put in this year against like the worst weather ever. They still, not that this is why they do this, but they still brought in something like just shy of $15,000.
Wow.
Even though they lost for 4 full nights, and it was such a joy to be down there. But they worked so hard with the costumes and the makeup and the guiding it was just a wonderful. And and especially some of the pirates were. Anyway, it's so beautiful to see it up and running and to have people come. We got phone calls from New York City saying we're coming up. Is it open? So. Thank you. Thank you, Claudia. So and I also would like to dedicate the meeting to our poll workers who got up at 3:30 in the morning so they could be here by 5 to open at 6 and work an endlessly long day. So, and we couldn't have our democracy without them. So. They're all home sleeping, but I want them to know they're greatly appreciated. So, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Would you like a roll call first?
Oh, shit. Yep. Oops.
Wendy Burton.
I'm sadly
Amy Karen absent. Margaret Gowan.
I'm here.
Nathan LaVirtue.
Here.
Lori Flanagan.
Here.
And Wendy's definitely here.
I'm sorry. Yes. Giddy.
I motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you.
Second? All in favor?
All right.
Town board liaison reports. Corey?
So I do have a confession tonight. I was rushing before I got here and I did not grab my paper from the planning board meeting. But it was a short one and there was only one lot line adjustment. The owner owned 2 lots. He was just taking a little bit from one to add to the other, and it was indeed approved.
Thank you.
So you didn't need it?
I did go to the meeting. I was there.
Your paper, your notes.
I think I had a little more detail on the notes, but I think what I said will suffice for it.
So the rec met yesterday. It was the longest meeting I've had with them in 2 years of being the liaison. There was a lot of discussion around the fortress. Did discuss the overall revenue that was received. It was shy of last year's number a little bit, but like you said, there was one night from every weekend was missed, and including the final closing night was also missed. But the Saturday, which became the closing night, they had 285 people show up, which is a lot of people. There are still discussions. I'm going to try to talk to some folks that I know about the point of sale connectivity kind of stuff down there. There were a lot of there was one individual that actually came, no cash, no check, only with plastic or digital payment. And one of the volunteers for the Haunted Fortress actually said, "I'll take your Venmo information and I'll give you cash and pay for your ticket." So we can't do that for everybody, but
Right.
this was the last person on one night, so they wanted to accommodate them.
Wow. There's also the ATM machines, at the bank and at Cobble Pond, but
Yeah, but
whatever.
it's
Never mind.
there's
Never mind.
there's a lot of reasons, and and that's, I think there was probably 20 minutes just talking about connectivity down there, particularly with the wreck itself.
Right.
We did discuss the update for the playground. So for folks that know, There's a campaign effort to try and to convert it into a more modern set of structures. There's 3 available dates that they're looking at. They're still asking people in the public on which dates are preferred as far as volunteering their time. They should be letting folks know what the consensus is. Right now, it seems to be, though, the leading option is the April timeframe,
Yeah.
which would be late April, actually going into a little bit of May. There's conversations about how to get folks involved. You know, people can volunteer in different ways, from not just hands-on work, but project management and childcare. You know,
Oh.
like if people want to come and do stuff, but they have kids, you know, they can volunteer that way. There were some updates as far as the grants. I know that Lauren was working with State Senator Hinchy, was able to get some money. I'm not going to disclose it because there's going to be a press release with that that's coming out soon, but it's a sizable chunk of money. There's also some other things that Lauren's exploring, but none of it's confirmed. She's just in the discovery phase right now. There's also some necessary pump repair updates that need to happen for the circulation. And it's a big project.
Yes.
And so she's getting some estimates right now solely for the purpose of preparing a bid, so that she can better understand what actually is needed, so she can articulate that and get more qualified bids. There was a discussion also around winter programming, and they're going to forego doing anything that's holiday themed, because it hasn't really, it seems to be the same, you know, half a dozen or less families that participate every year. So they're gonna meet in the new year and discuss more winter-oriented stuff for both kids and adults. So they actually want to put out a survey to the public to kind of solicit some ideas on what might be interesting to people. And then there was a little bit of an update on the trunk or treat. Overall, it went well. There were some scheduling snafus because there was with the rain all of those weekends, there were other things that were going on, so that's why we had a little bit lower turnout than years previous. And then just, it came up, it's probably not really a rec thing, but Parade of Lights is December 2nd.
Oh, no, that's great to know.
And that's end of my report.
So I'm sorry, she thinks that the whole pump is probably going to have to be replaced, or that's
So
what she's really
so it's the
trying to figure out?
lines. So
Yeah, it's
they
worse
need to
than
be,
this.
they need to be
Oh,
trenched.
okay.
And part of them go through the beach area. And they run parallel with electric lines. So it's the chlorination pumps.
So do they run up to the lifeguard building in the bathrooms?
One pipe does, they come together. So that's part of the discussion, is the alternatives that she's looking at is that one is saying run use the existing line, just dig up the whole thing and lay a new line.
Okay.
Another one is making a suggestion of running it at a different place so that they don't have to dig up through the pool area and the beach area again. So she's trying to understand what's the pros and cons of both to be able to weigh that, and then figure out how to articulate that in the bid, so that when she asks, you know, whatever to complete the task, that she has an idea of which option she wants to go with.
Can you make sure she also checks in with Jim Myers?
I'm sure she will.
Well, could you just make sure?
Yeah, I can talk to her. Before or after she
No, she
writes
can-
the bid?
No, before she writes. the
Before
bid.
she writes it,
I
okay.
just would like him to be able to chime in on any thoughts he may have.
Okay.
Well, the Conservation Advisory Commission will be having a big meeting in here on November 15th at 6 p.m. And there will be representatives from a lot of different environmental groups. And they're going to be explaining the new natural resource inventory project, how that works, how people can get involved, if anyone is interested in volunteering, what it could be used for in the future, what is the proposed timeline, basically, hopefully what the structure of the final document and project will look like. And then there'll be a lot of opportunities for people to ask questions and back and forth with anyone who's interested and is showing up. And there is, like, how does one do a PowerPoint in here? Can we do a PowerPoint here?
We have that screen.
Okay.
I have a tiny little projector that works.
Okay.
I'm not, we'd have to, whoever's doing it, if it's Curtis, but we should make sure we have the right hookups to his.
The right cords.
Yeah, but we've done it
Okay.
before.
All right, great, thank you. So maybe I'll talk to you afterwards about
Yeah,
borrowing your.
but my little tiny projector is in my office, it's
Okay.
always here.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Okay, me. I think it's safe to say we're all happy that election season is over. I'm incredibly grateful for the vote of confidence I've received, and I'm grateful to each and every one of the candidates who put themselves out there in order to do public service. We will work, as we have for the past 4 years, to serve every segment of our community. We have some really exciting opportunities ahead of us, which I'll speak about later. And as you know, my door is truly always open. Several projects, all funded with federal funds, are very near completion. The new front doors, which you probably noticed, will be a tremendous energy saver as they finally sealed the building from the winter wind blowing through that entryway. They'll be painted in the spring. It's too cold to paint them now, but they're going to match the color of the new transoms. We did notice there's a slight problem with the doors already. One of them is hanging lower than the other. Do you think that your husband's going to be
Yeah,
able
we're setting it up.
Okay, good. So we're having a confab with the guys who did the work, and they will be fixed. We also are in the process of having all of the lighting in all town buildings converted to LED lighting, which will bring our energy costs down substantially. We've already seen a reduction in the charges for the Bangor Lighting District, which was converted earlier this year with Central Hudson. Veterans Day is coming Saturday, and sadly our American Legion has grown so tiny that they're not holding a ceremony this year. The closest ceremony honoring our veterans will be held in Pine Plains on Saturday morning at 11 a.m. at 9 North Main Street. And that's being sponsored by the American Legion Post number 436 and VFW Post 5519. Speaking of veterans, the Stanford Republicans are working with the Grange for a collection of items that will be donated to veterans in need. There's a list, no.
Adrian just got contacted. It wasn't a Republican necessarily. Like the Republicans had sort of spearheaded that veteran event last year, but this was just a collection of, because you were
I have a very good friend who's
contacted.
involved with DAB. So that's
So-
where I'm getting the information.
Well, that's great, and we're gonna print out the flyer and put it in the newsletter and put it up in, well, can you print it out too, or do you want me to
Yeah,
print it out?
absolutely.
Okay, so we can flood the town with them,
Yeah.
yes. And also, I'm hoping to convince Adrian to basically head up our Veterans Outreach Committee,
Yes.
and we will discuss that in a week or two,
Mhm.
after your birthday.
Yes, after my birthday.
So this is, I mean, it's wonderful what's coming together. Oh, okay, here's another one. Regarding the entire issue of whether or not we'll run a 3-month trial with the Pine Plains Police to attempt to discourage speeding throughout the town, the board will have to agree with this, but I'd like to propose that we appoint a Citizens Review Committee chaired by Carl to see what can be worked out with the Sheriff's Department and the state troopers as far as dependable, reliable additional coverage that we wouldn't have to pay for. So Carl's on it, and I think Ray and, Ray Marino, and you don't have to think about it. Carl's a little
Just
asleep.
give me a number of how many people you'd like on it.
Well, we'll talk. I mean, it depends who you think is going to be useful and how, and figuring it all out. So we're just going to put that all on hold until some research is done, and then we'll figure out what we're doing. Huns Lake Bridge update is a little grim. The work is moving forward. Apparently it stopped for quite a while. It's not opening. The opening date was supposed to be tomorrow. It's not happening. This is all being contracted out through the county, and I guess the penalty phase starts tomorrow. But I was told things are in motion, work is progressing. They do not think it's going to open until New Year's or even after that, hoping for mid-January. And it's unfortunate. The financials are looking really good. I delivered 2 payroll verification sheets as well as the supervisor's report and bank reconciliation. We had a huge third quarter leap in sales tax revenue and a decent uptick in our mortgage tax revenue, not enough to make us whole as far as the mortgage tax line, but we'll be able to be fine with the budget because of the sales tax was so above. And the county is also raising the sales tax.
I'm aware.
Yeah, as of January, I guess. Some highlights of revenue.
It's going up 0.25%.
Yeah. Transfer station's up almost $15,000. They're in the black. Even with the higher haulage fees, they're still earning more than we're paying out for Royal and Welsh. The Haunted Fortress, we've already covered. Interest earnings are up $43,000 just because we're taking advantage of the New York class interest rates. And Parks and Recreation brought in $4,500 over projected earnings. And Rita is very close to making you will go over. Yes. Yeah, you're very close. As far as expenditures, we're going to be able to move budget lines around, so I think we're just going to come out fine. We're going to be able to move money around to cover the expenses. And then as far as, I missed the ZBA meeting last night because I was in bed by 7:30. But Kathy told me there was a public hearing with a front setback variance of 41 feet granted at the public hearing at 83 Gristmill Lane. So I think that's all I have, and now I would like to open up the privilege of the floor. And if you'd like to speak, please just give your name and address to Rita Mary.
I just was so moved by the poll workers, and I know this is piling on.
Wait, talk a little louder, Janie.
Sorry.
Much better.
The poll worker thing, I didn't really understand for a long time how it worked, but it's not a shift. You go in, as Wendy said, after getting up at 5 a.m., and you stay around the clock. That's a requirement of the job. So clean up at 10, they go home or something. My neighbor is one of those people, and she took a day off work to do that, and the next morning I get up at 6 and her car's already gone because she had an early shift on her job, and those poll workers just knocked my socks off, and I guess I just wanted to kind of pile on and get that on the record. Other thing, just a bit about these light emitting diodes. These units that are over our heads, they go for 60,000 hours. So we should be saving a lot of bucks. That's my privilege.
You might need a dimmer switch.
I know they're very bright.
What about a dimmer?
I like
I agree, they're
You turned
blinding.
the other light on last night.
I like
was
it though.
oh.
I can't see anything.
No,
so
and
I
it's that
can
way
straight-
throughout the whole building.
I can actually see everything.
Yeah, you were seeing a little too much, actually.
I just have to add about the poll workers, because a friend of mine from work, her husband was supposed to be in LaGrange, but at the last minute he got sent here. And when he came home, she said, "How did it go?" And he said, "Oh, it was great, it was super busy," but he couldn't stop talking about the food here. He said he had never been at a poll site. He was talking about the egg dishes, and he said, I hope they put me in Stanford again next year. So.
Yeah,
All the poll
The poll
workers,
workers,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's just amazing. Yes, Miss Claudia?
Hi, Claudia DeVellis Charwell. Continuing my theme with citizenship, I want to thank everybody who got out there the past couple of days and is picking up the signs.
Yeah.
It is so nice to get back to community, not
Yeah.
politics, and just drive down the road and just see a sign that says something's for sale. It's nice. Thank you, everybody who cleaned up.
Yeah, amen to that.
Thank you, Claudia. Yes?
Kathy Zier, 158 Shelley Hill Road. Kind of some random questions. The traffic enforcement sign is down here by the church. It seems to be flashing even if you're going 35 miles an hour. And it's very distracting. It needs to probably be reset.
Yeah, I think Carrie said it wrong, and it shouldn't be flashing, I'll have Carrie reset
Right,
it. Yeah.
right. My next question is just observing, has Ann Arendt resigned from the board because she hasn't been participating in public workshops or meetings? And I do know she has resigned from the school board.
She resigned from the school board after, yes, she did, and I believe she will resign because she just hasn't been able to get back to meetings because she's working in Massachusetts.
So she's going to be resigning from the town board?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, all right. Next topic is the zoning commission. Our zoning code is very, very deficient. Being involved with lawyers from out of the area, and they've reviewed it, it desperately needs attention. What is the status of the zoning commission? What have you gotten applicants, and what is the criteria to be on the committee? When is the committee going to be starting, and who is going to be leading the direction of this committee? All I know is that there's just a committee, and we need applicants, is all I've heard.
We've gotten applicants. I've put out the word so many times, so we have applicants. I think probably, I don't know if we'll be able to do it until next year. Like in January, we need to interview everyone. And some of the applicants have given us pretty substantial resumes. Others have people like Tom Angel, for instance, who has, I don't need his resume, we don't need his resume to know how qualified he is. So we're gonna, I think that's something the board's gonna have to discuss when we get together and meet all of the applications. And what was the last question?
Well, when is it going to start, and how is it going to be, who's going to be running these meetings? Who's going to be the chairperson of this commission?
My guess
Will it be
is-
the consultant?
I don't know, I don't think so, because the committee's going to have to decide who the consultant is. And again, this is a detail that, my thoughts have been that the commission would elect their own chair.
Right.
That's my thought, but again, I don't have a definitive answer.
Right, right. And my personal opinion is it doesn't have to wait to have the master plan passed. We need to get this commission in place to start working on a lot of these areas that do not depend on the master plan being revised and passed. It's going to take a long time just to do the basics before you can start making significant changes.
I agree, and I think the comprehensive plan will probably be passed before the end of the year. We have one more public hearing, and we'll talk, and then we'll probably, whatever, unless there's some huge reason why we can't pass it.
Right, and have you set the public hearing for the master
We're
plan?
doing that tonight.
Okay, all right.
Anyone else? Yes, Carl. No, you can just, but talk
just
loud so
speak
you get
loud.
recorded.
Pretty loud. Carl Mayer, 168 Creamery Road. We just wanted to thank all the candidates that did run, and to those who won, congratulations. And thank you for listening to what both you and I have been discussing on social media, that we were able to get together on a phone call and make happen. So thank you for listening to that, and hopefully we'll make that work going forward. So.
Do you want to go home now?
No.
Is that a request?
That almost came off as a rhetorical question.
For the first time, it's not a request.
True.
I know, me too. Okay, so, yes, thank you, and I'm really glad we got this worked out. If no one else has anything to say, I make a motion to close the first privilege of the floor.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Oh, gosh. Rita, do you have the salary schedule with you? Okay. So the salary schedule, which was in the budget, we need to approve that formally separately. So you all should have had a chance to review it because we passed it in the budget.
And we looked
So,
at it.
and look, right. So Rita, can I just make a motion that we accept we approve the salary?
Yep.
Okay, that's my motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do you want this back, Rita? Because I have
Please.
mine in the office.
Thanks.
The second item is the building permit fees. Katrina Gore, who is a gift to this town, is also her title here is senior clerk, but she has that title or something comparable in Claverack. And she also was doing the same work in the building department in Armenia. So she's very, sorry, Wendy, shut up now. She's very conversant with the fees that get charged for all over the county, basically. And she came to the board with a proposal to raise our building department fees for 2024. The board reviewed her lists of suggestions, and we basically have agreed with all of her suggestions. There was one item, which is the renewal of a building permit fee, that we thought was a little high. And then she further explained it in a memo she wrote that I sent out to you guys. And the way she proposes it, right now the renewal of a building permit is a flat $175, no matter how big the building. So what she proposed was, which I guess is what other towns are doing, is 50% of the renewal fee, 50% of the building permit fee, only for new construction of single-family residences and new commercial buildings. Otherwise, it would remain $175 or what's lower than
50%.
the 50%. So
50% of the original.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that would just depend on the size of the building.
Yep.
So I don't know if that makes all of her suggestions okay, or if
Yeah, when you sent that memo, I was like, oh, that's very different than the way that we interpreted it, which is, we were just like, well,
We thought it
this
was
feel like it could
Right.
inflate quickly,
Right.
but what she wrote kept it a lot more in check, so yeah, that makes a lot more sense. As long as we just update that language.
Okay, okay. So we will post all of this. I mean, we'll get that fee page updated. So do you want me to read every line, or do you? No?
But this would be January
It would-
2024.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I make a motion to accept it.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
With the new
Yes.
renewal.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'll
Send it.
Yes, I'll write out the language that she sent.
Okay, thanks.
Three, I believe, quick resolutions. No, one of them is lengthy, and you can read that one. C.
Rita never sent it to me.
Oh,
Oh, C, I have C,
oh,
I
I'm
have C.
sorry.
I thought,
It's all right, I have C
It's
though,
okay, it's
I have
okay.
C.
I apologize on A and B.
It's okay.
Sometimes there's a few distractions in my office.
I know.
Resolution
I was
11.
one of them.
Yes. Resolution 11A of 2023 to transfer funds from the American Rescue Funds account, New York class ending in 9, and move the funds to the general fund ending in 018. You want to see it?
No, I saw it.
Okay. Whereas the town of Stanford will be investing American Rescue Plan funds to purchase new entryway doors for town halls, which will be much more energy efficient, and whereas the New York class account ending in 09, American Rescue Fund account contains funds for this purpose, and whereas the town of Stanford will transfer funds from New York class account ending in 9 to the Millbrook General Fund account ending in 18. Now therefore be it resolved, the supervisor is authorized to complete the following budget modifications and transfer the funds from the American Rescue Plan Fund account to the general fund, and that cost is $32,738.66. And that was for 4 sets of doors and 4 sets of transoms.
Second that motion.
Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Ann Aaron absent, Margaret Fallon,
Yes.
Nathan LaVertue,
Yes.
Corey Flanagan.
Yes.
Resolution 11B, to transfer funds from the American Rescue Funds account ending in 9 and moving the funds to the general fund account. Whereas the town of Stanford will be investing American Rescue Plan funds to pay for the removal and installation of the new entryway doors for town hall. Whereas the New York class account ending in 9 contains funds for this purpose, and whereas the town of Stanford will transfer funds from the class account to the general fund account, now therefore be it resolved, the supervisor is authorized to complete the following budget modifications and transfer the funds from the American Rescue Fund account to the general fund, and that amount for the installation and the removal and installation of the doors was $8,200. No, $8,200. And could you read that amount? Because I'm having trouble.
8282.
$8,282.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a hard one.
Second.
Second.
Sorry,
That's
your
okay.
turn.
Wendy Burton.
Yes.
Ann Aaron absent, Margaret Fallon.
Yes.
Nathan LaVertue.
Yes.
Corey Flanagan.
Yes.
And we will not pay that bill until the doors are fixed. Resolution 11C. This is a whole lot of language that basically allows the town to not always pick the lowest bid for purchasing something if it's best value. Actually, Janie, could you explain it quickly better than I can? Because reading this, we'll read it, but it's obtuse.
I'm sure Bob could.
I can.
Oh, okay. You're right, Janie. It's just you've done so good explaining it in the past.
I'm happy to do this.
Thank
This
you.
is the best value is a situation where you might not want to accept the lowest cash bidder on a particular item, because there may be other factors that make a slightly higher bid better, like the product might last longer, or it might have less maintenance. There might be other advantages to it. And so this is an exception that the state has put in the laws that would otherwise require competitive bidding of municipal purchasing and so forth. And but in order for us to utilize that, we have to pass a local law in order to do it. That's a requirement of the state statute. So this is a local law that would permit us to do this. And this is a situation that may come up in connection with the REC procurement contract for the equipment at the REC, where we are working with a cooperative organization from, sort of indirectly, that is an agency of the state of Minnesota. And the laws allow us to do this because they do competitive bidding, but they also award contracts based on best value. So in order for us to be able to use them, we also have to authorize ourselves to award on basis of best value.
Thank you, Bob. And
More than anybody, too much information, right?
Well,
I'm sorry, can't help it.
No, I just want to thank Jane because she has just done so much due diligence on the purchasing of the components for Spark Park. That was like just a phenomenal amount of work, so thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Jane.
Well, it's, here you go.
I got it.
Okay.
Bear with me, it's for a couple pages. So this is resolution number 11C of 2023 to introduce local law number 6 of 2023, authorizing the town board to award public contracts based on best value. I'm not going to do quotes every time. At the meeting of the town board of the town of Stanford, held at the town Stanford Hall on the 9th day of November 2023 at 7 p.m., Town Supervisor Wendy Burton called the meeting to order. She, seconded by Councilperson Nathan LaVirtue, moved the following resolution to introduce the following proposed local law to be known as Proposed Local Law Number 6 of 2023, entitled A Local Law Authorizing the Town of Stanford Town Board to Award Certain Purchase Contracts Based on Best Value, as follows. Be it enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Stanford as follows. Section 1, Declaration of Intent. Section 103(1) of the New York State General Municipal Law, which I'll refer to as GML in the future, authorizes the town board to award certain purchase contracts, including contracts for service work, which are subject to competitive bidding under GML 103 on the basis of best value as defined in Section 163 of the New York State Finance Law or any state law superseding, amending said statute, provided the town board has first enacted a local law. Awarding purchase contracts, including contracts for service work based on the best value, means the town board will be able to purchase, to purchase contracts or contracts for service work to vendors it determines will be more cost efficient over time and considers factors such as lower cost of maintenance, durability, higher quality, and longer product life rather than just awarding such contracts to the lowest responsible bidder based solely on price. The Town of Stanford Town Board has determined it is in the best interest of the town and its residents to authorize the awarding of purchase contracts, including contracts for service work, which are otherwise subject to competitive bidding under GML 103 on the basis of best value, in addition to lowest responsible bid, and now wishes to enact a local law authorizing it to do so in accordance with GML 103. Section 2. The Town of Stanford Town Code is hereby amended to add a new Chapter 60 entitled Best Value Procurement to state as follows. Legislative purpose. New York GML 103 provides the Town of Stanford Town Board with the authority to award purchase contracts, including contracts for service work on the basis of best value, provided the Town Board first enacts a local law providing such authority. The Town Board has determined that providing such an authorization will give the Town Board greater flexibility to consider factors such as lower cost of maintenance, durability, higher quality, and longer product life, and therefore it is in the best interest of the town to enact such a local law providing such authority. Section 2, Authority. This is Section 2 of the Chapter 60. This article is enacted pursuant 103 of the New York GML. Section 3, awarding contract based on best value. The town board may award purchase contracts, including contracts for services, on the basis of best value as the term is defined in 163 of the New York State Finance Law. All awards based on best value shall require town board approval. Section 4, applicability. Yeah, see? Applicability.
There you go.
Somebody second.
I did, but I still have to read it because it's a local law. The provision of this chapter apply to town purchase contracts, including contracts for services involving an expenditure of more than $20,000, but excluding purchase contracts necessary for the completion of a public works contract pursuant to Article 8 of the New York Labor Law, and any other contract that may in the future be excluded under New York State law from the best value option. If the dollar threshold of the New York GML 103 are increased or decreased in the future by the New York State legislator, the dollar threshold set forth herein shall be deemed simultaneously amended to match the new GML thresholds. Section 5, standards for best value. Goods and services procured and awarded on the basis of best value are those that the town board determines optimize quality, cost, and efficiency among responsive and responsive builders or offerers. The determination shall be based on an objective and quantifiable analysis of clearly described and documented criteria as they apply to the rating of bids and offers. The criteria may include, but shall not be limited to, any or all of the following: cost of maintenance, proximity to the contractors, durability, longer product life, product performance criteria, and the quality of craftsmanship. Section 6, basis for determination. When any contract is awarded on the basis of best value instead of lower responsible bidder, the basis of the determining best value shall be thoroughly and accurately documented. Section 7, inconsistent provisions. Any inconsistent provisions on the town's procurement policy as adopted prior to the effective date of this chapter by resolution of the town board shall be deemed superseded by the provisions of this article. And then this is section 3 of this local law. Numbering for codification. It is the intention of the town of Stanford Town Board, and it is hereby enacted that the provisions of this local law shall be included in the Code of Town of Stanford, that the sections and subsections of this local law may be renumbered or relettered for the codifier to accomplish such intention, that the codifier shall make no substantive changes to this local law, that the word local law shall be changed to chapter, section, or other appropriate word as required for codification, and that any such rearranging of the numbering and editing shall not affect the validity of this local law or the provisions of the code affected thereby. Section 4, severability. The invalidity of any word, section, clause, paragraph, sentence, part, or provision of this local law shall not affect the validity of any other part of this local law, which can be given effect without such part or parts. Effective date. This local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the New York Department of State. Town Supervisor Wendy Burton advised the town board that pursuant to the Municipal Home Rule Law of New York, State of New York, it was necessary to hold a public hearing upon this proposed local law. Whereas Supervisor Burton has introduced this proposed local law for the town of Stamford to be known as the Town of Stamford Proposed Local Law Number 6 of 2023, entitled A Local Law Authorizing the Town of Stamford Town Board to Award Certain Purchase Contracts Based on Best Value. Now, therefore, be it further resolved that a public hearing be held in relation to the proposed local law set forth in the form of notice hereinafter provided, at which hearing parties in interest and citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard, to be held at the town hall on Thursday, December 14th at 7:00 p.m. And that notice of said meeting shall be published in the official newspaper of general circulation in the town of Stamford by the town clerk at least 5 days before such hearing, and that such notice shall be in the following form. And the next, I don't have to read that, but it's the notice of the public hearing, and then it just has our names as far as who voted for what.
Thank you for doing that.
Sure.
If you read that again, please.
Outside.
We'll give you your own copy.
Yeah.
I'm already falling asleep.
I'm sorry.
Can I just, hold on, I just wanted to give a little background for people watching at home who might not understand. So like when we first started talking about rebuilding the playground, there were many public meetings. And there was just a strong feeling from the community that we didn't just want to put up the cheapest possible playground, but we wanted to honor the history and the heritage and the imagination of the original design. And so that's why the law, when it's talking about the higher quality, the quality of the craftsmanship, It is about, really, again, protecting the history of the playground and the original design that was so important to so many people in the community.
Thank you.
Wendy Burton,
Yes.
Dan Aaron absent, Margaret Fallon,
Yes.
Nathan Virtue,
Yes.
Ward Finnegan,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of October 12th.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor,
All in
say
favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. And to approve the minutes of October 19th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you.
I'd like to approve the abstract number 11 for November. The general fund spent $106,783.62. Highway fund, $133,585.57. Bengal lights, $876.91. The escrow account, $1,150.
Second,
I seconded. I forgot that needed seconding.
it does. All in favor?
Aye.
Before we get to the second privilege of the floor, under other, which it doesn't seem to be here, we need to set a date for the public hearing for the comprehensive plan. Jeff and I are almost done getting all. We're almost done getting everything into the
Software.
InDesign document, which we just now have to make sure all the bullet points match up. And Nina Peak did make some,
Yeah.
mostly grammatical,
Yeah.
so I think we're fine to incorporate those. So when shall we have the public hearing? Oh, and Jane will have to confirm that we can get Cold Springs. We'll set this date and then confirm it's available. Nathan, what day were you looking at that you could actually come?
I can't do that week.
No, what day,
Oh.
when can you come? The first week?
The first week's better.
Okay.
I've got all of our,
You don't have to tell us why.
no, I don't mind telling folks why. It's just, it's irrelevant to anybody, but my boss is flying in from Texas and we've got all of our planning for 2024 is happening that week and we're gonna go late.
Okay.
So I don't think I'll be able to attend it and I wanna make sure I'm present for public comment. So I prefer the week of the 4th, because I know once we start looking at the week of the 18th, it's
Yeah,
too close to the holidays.
The week of
and
the
I-
4th, I think is better, yeah. Let's
Okay,
get
so
it
I guess you
done.
know what we're doing this weekend, Jeff. Well, we gotta get it done.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the week of the 4th, should we do it
Thursday?
on
Can
the
the-
on the 7th?
Is that,
December 7th on Pearl Harbor Day?
okay.
No,
I would
Why not
say,
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Wednesday?
Yeah.
What's the, Wednesday is December 6th?
Yeah.
Or Friday.
those days work, honestly, I'm flexible that week.
Okay.
And so whatever everyone else decides, but I think it's also contingent on what Cold Spring is
Yeah,
available
true.
too.
So should we set it for, do you have a preference
No,
for this? So there's no,
6, 7, 8, and if it works for the school.
No one's gonna go on Friday night.
I'm sorry?
Don't remember that.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
No fourth, please.
I'm sorry, Jane.
Just asking for
So-
navigating through incorporating the school, could we get the primary date, the date most wanted, and then have a plan B, so that I don't have to come back to you if they...
Hanukkah's
Feels
the
like-
8th.
Feels like the 6th or the...
Friday, right.
Feels
So
like
we
the-
wouldn't, yeah, we wouldn't do,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it
no.
feels like the 6th or 7th are the,
Okay, let's-
6th or 7th.
the 6th or 7th. So let's try for the 7th, and if not, the 6th.
Okay.
Okay.
Definitely not bringing them in, no other time.
Will you be doing that Monday, Jane?
Yes.
Because I'll have to do a public hearing notice.
She'll find out.
It's a 10-day notice.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was my other. Does anybody else have any others?
I have no other items.
Okay, then I'd like to open the second privilege of the floor. Carl, Mr. Merritt.
Just a suggestion.
Louder.
Just a suggestion or food for thought. You said that Ann's going to be stepping down, and I was wondering if maybe one of the two people that ran but didn't make it expressed interest, maybe they would be considered for that position. Have a little diversity on the board, and, you know, the people that ran and truly do have the good of the town in their hearts, so while we're reaching across lines, why not try it? That's all, just a suggestion.
Thank you, Claus. Anyone else? No? Okay, then I will close the second privilege of the floor. Are we going into executive session?
I thought we had to.
Okay. So, we're going into executive session for personnel reason. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you, everybody.
And so, all right, are you
Make a
ready for us?
motion to-
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting,
No, we have
No.
to come out of
We have to
executive
return
session.
from-
to close the executive session.
Second.
Sorry.
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to open the regular session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Margaret?
No, I'm going to let Courtney do it.
I make a motion to close the meeting.
We call that adjourning.
Adjourn the meeting.
Should make an announcement about the executive session, or no action.
We took no action at the executive session. Thank you, Bob.
Now I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we are adjourned.